This is the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, brought to you by Sysco. Sysco is here to help set you up for success by delivering high-quality foods, products, and services for your restaurant. Recording live to digital from the NCF&B studios in downtown Raleigh. Join us as we lead you into the kitchen, inside the bottle, and into the minds of the food and beverage industry. And now, sending back a cocktail because they simply didn't like it. It's Max Trujillo and Matthew Weiss.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And today on the podcast, we have a special guest because she has bootstrapped a vodka brand from non-GMO organically farmed corn. Her name is Tina Karras, and here she is to tell us all about Tina's Vodka.
Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for pronouncing my name properly.
You know, I as long as it's not Indian, apparently that's my blind spot. Indian names I'm really poor at, but otherwise I'm pretty good.
Sorry, Sharup Bandeopadai.
Yeah,
sorry. Our good friend who we call incorrectly.
Swarup.
We've been calling him the wrong name forever, apparently, and
he's digging this right now that we're talking about him.
Yeah, he just, because we talked about him a couple weeks ago, and then he texted us. He's like, "Hey, you guys shouted me out."
Yeah.
But apparently his name is spelled Swarup, like Swarup. And so that's what I've been calling him. And then I was at his house one time, and his wife called to him, and she's like, "Sharup." And I went, "What did she call you?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And I go, no, but she called you a different name. Is that like your little like love name? He's like, "No, it's just my name." I go, "So wait, your name is pronounced Sharup?" He's like, "Yeah." Well, it's fine. You can just say, I'm like, "Oh, so the white people call you Swara."
That's like anytime you play golf with a lot of the Korean guys play golf, and their name is whatever it is. Somebody can fill me in on a
George,
proper Korean.
Bill.
But then they introduce themselves to you, and they're like, "Oh yeah, hi, my name's John." Like, no. He just called you, so you.
Yeah.
No,
I want the menu that
American white person. I'm John to you. Call me John. Sorry, this has nothing to do with Tina's Vodka.
You're really getting it started off great. But that's actually funny because Tina and I, I was giving Matt a little background. I'm like, Tina and I, we've met before at an event. We'll get into it in a second. I said, but we're like kindred spirits. We have a very similar outlook on a lot of things, and we're both well, no, we're not Californians. You're a North Carolinian,
yeah,
but you spent the lion's share of your adult life in California.
Yep.
Which makes her Californian, at least in part.
Yeah. Well, so she's
how long did you spend in California?
About half my life, 25 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm literally half and half North Carolina and California.
Yeah.
She's a Los Angelino the way I call myself a Los Angelino, because I moved to LA when I was 20 and then lived there till I was 35. So whenever somebody says, "Where are you from?" I just say, "I'm from LA." But really, I'm from San Jose. But
you've almost lived in North Carolina as long as you lived in Los Angeles at this point.
Yeah.
I've been here for 10 years.
Oh.
So anyways. But you spent a lot of time in LA kind of crafting your bar craft and beverage craft and music craft while out there.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit, what made you leave North Carolina originally to go to LA?
Well, actually, it kind of started with Hurricane Fran.
Okay.
I was a fifth-year senior at Chapel Hill, and the hurricane came, and my plan at the time was to stay in Chapel Hill and work in radio in Raleigh, get a job. I was an intern, and that's right when the 1996 telecommunications bill passed. And I was an intern the summer before in Charlotte, and then when that law kicked in and all the corporations were taking over the radio stations, I didn't like it anymore. It was not creative. It was just like, here's your script, this is what you're doing, and everything was, they just fired a bunch of the legendary DJs in the area, and everything was different. So when the hurricane came, it ruined I was renting a duplex, and the landlord wouldn't fix anything. There was mold growing everywhere. So I'm like, I'm out of here. Like the last 3 weeks of college, I literally was sofa surfing just because I just needed to
finish it out.
Yeah, just to finish it out. And I'm like, so I went back to Charlotte trying to figure out, what do I do now? I have my music degree. I doubled with communications, radio, television production.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. But, what do you do right after college? who's going to hire me to write music? Nobody. So, and then a lot of my friends, I actually for fall break, I went to New York, and I was like, all right, I'm moving to New York. This is it. And it was the winter, I graduated in December. So my friend was
Bad time to visit New York.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not moving in the middle of winter. Just stay down there, take some time off. Don't do what I did. She went straight to work right after she graduated. She's like, relax a little bit. You just finished, whatever, how long we're in college, from kindergarten to college. So like, take some time off. And in the meantime, I found out about the Suzuki classical guitar training class. I was a classical guitar major.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was 3 classes. So I was planning to go to that class, come back to Charlotte, take on some students and write music. And then one of them happened to be in Los Angeles. So that's the one I went to. And it happened to be that week there was a UNC internship program. So they have this huge internship program for Carolina students to work in the industry, whether it be talent management, production, every facet of television and motion pictures, because a lot of Tar Heel graduates are out there already in the business. So they reach out to them like, hey, can you, take on an intern for the summer? So they were having their reception the week I was in LA. So I went to that reception. I ran into people I knew from college. And so by the end of the week, they had taken me around the city, and I was like, all right, let's moving to LA.
It's so different. Max and I both spent almost 10 years in Los Angeles as well, trying to be an actor. And it's so weird when you meet people from home out in Los Angeles. It's really different. Like, it's not, because it's always that Los Angeles thing about like, oh, can you do something for me? Or like how I feel like you're sizing people up and
Wait,
be like,
meet someone from home? What do you mean?
like you see somebody in LA and you're almost like reinvented. Like you're not the same person, right?
Oh,
That
but you're
nobody
saying
knows.
when someone
But
from
then
like
you-
Long Island sees
or you
in-
know them from your previous experiences, and then
Yeah.
you're there. It's like the relationship is somehow different.
It is. It's surreal because it takes you a minute to
Yeah.
be like, wait, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, wait.
You're doing the same thing as I am. I thought I'm the only one that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was cool. So yeah, by the end of the week, I decided to move out there. 3 weeks later, I moved out and just kind of went for it. And it was kind of naive. I think my naivete really helped me make the decision, because if I knew how hard it was going to be, and and this is back before cell phones, before social media.
I was going to say, I didn't want to date you, but what years were you thinking?
Hey, I'm proud Gen X.
Same here.
Good.
We're all old people in this room.
Well, she
It's
said
fine.
96. This was 96.
Yeah.
Okay.
96.
Yeah, I moved in 98. And you, Matt?
99. Right. October of 99.
Yeah. My buddies and I said,
Or no, August of 99.
on your birthday, Matt, 1998, January 1st, because Matt's a New Year's baby, my buddies and I, we were a little sauced because it was New Year's Eve, and we said, we're moving to LA. And we're like, when? We said, let's do 6 months from today, June 1st, let's move to LA, and let's be stars out there. And we held true to that. We literally moved on June 1st was when we signed, we got a lease on an apartment. We moved in that day into Santa Monica.
Nice.
And rent control, 2 bedrooms for $1,200.
Yeah.
Which doesn't
Those
exist.
are the days, man.
Yeah. I know those numbers don't sound that weird to like people in North Carolina. They're like, that sounds like an appropriate amount for a shitty apartment. But like
Almost 20 years ago, or 16
Yeah.
years ago.
yeah, no, that was
26 years ago.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, but we moved in and yeah, similar in that we all kind of went for the arts. That's I guess why
Yes.
you go to LA, and you want to be involved somehow. And then also similar, you went to music school. I went to MI, Musicians Institute, for recording engineering, which led me to this beautiful career of podcast engineering.
Very wealthy.
And
Now?
yeah, I can write my own ticket, my friends, as long as it's a bus ticket. But and then yeah, similar to the industry was like not hiring, because when I finished that schooling, I went back as like an older person back to music school, and I think in 2004 was when I graduated. Top of my class, no big deal. But they were firing all of the sound engineers from all the big studios, because this is like during the Napster era, and everybody was stealing music for free, and so no one was getting paid. So the last thing they needed to do was hire a producer or an engineer, because everyone was just doing it home recordings, because
Yeah, you don't figure.
the White Stripes was like the biggest deal at the time, and everyone just liked that like garage band sound. So
Why
yeah,
do I need an engineer?
Yeah.
But you did not have as cool of a job as Tina did.
right.
You eventually became the buyer at the world famous Roxy,
Yeah.
which is world renowned music venue.
Yeah.
How did that's pretty cool.
It's such a random, crazy thing that looking back after, because Roxy's been in my life ever since. So I graduated December 96, and then by the time I made it to LA was like August of 97. So it was a few months. So yeah, I just went there, hung out with some Carolina people, sofa surfed for a while, trying to figure it out, started temping in the industry. And
Is this James Taylor or something that you were hanging out with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, Carolina on my mind. Is it the
He's a guitarist, you know?
he wrote a few songs.
You had told, sorry to get off, you had told me a couple of years ago that like you'd almost never listened to a James Taylor song.
What?
I've seen Fire, I've seen Rain. That's all I've seen. Thanks for outing me on the North Carolina Food and Beverage podcast to talk about how
But it's just random. Like you know about every. I mean, so your musicianship and knowledge is pretty vast and in depth. But
Yeah.
you don't know James Taylor, who's I would say pretty mainstream, and especially if you live in North
Here,
Carolina. Yeah.
Sure. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But even growing up in New York,
I grew up in Los Angeles.
But he also did. I mean, he dated Stevie Nicks too, right? So.
Oh well, of course. I only listen to people who dated Stevie Nicks.
No, but I mean, as far as like in the mainstream, in the zeitgeist.
Here's another part. I hated Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks growing up, and that
now?
whole genre. Jackson Brown, the aforementioned James Taylor, could not listen to that music.
Right,
at that
because
time.
as like an angsty teenager and like 20-year-old, that stuff is like relaxing, or almost like like heady and.
Oh yeah. What I've realized, and maybe since we're all Gen Xers here, can you agree with me on this statement? When I try to relate music to my daughters, I realized that the music of the 90s, which was more of like our teen era, was so fucking depressing and so dark.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, 9 Inch Nails, like
Nirvana.
Even Pearl Jam at that time, like
Nirvana, like, and even like the hip hop was dark. Like Wu-Tang was not necessarily uplifting, and and Dre and NWA, like everything was so negative. Rage Against the Machine, but these are like the bands that formulated everything for me, and all of it just felt like if you're gonna be in music and whatever, you've got to be a tortured soul. You got to like speak about your hate and your anger and even just your sadness.
Yeah.
And it's like nowadays it's like BTS is singing about honey or whatever, or milk or whatever it's called. I don't know, but like it's like the most nonsensical, who gives a shit type of music. But that's what I was brought up on, or we were all brought up on.
What about the 80s, like Duran Duran, George Michael? There was some uplifting stuff. And
Tears
Duran
for
Duran,
Fears, who you were playing earlier.
Duran Duran, by the way.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah, I was actually listening to that yesterday. It's funny. But like Duran Duran, if you really look at their sheet music, I mean, they're phenomenal musicians. They really know what they're doing. Key changes. Thank you. Like you have to change keys.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing to me how many songs just don't do that at all.
Yeah.
It's fun to change keys.
Except for Tay-Tay. She knows what she's doing. Taylor Swift.
Oh.
She'll key change it every now and then.
Well, hey,
I had to
Tina,
say Taylor Swift in an episode. There it is.
There you go. The one thing that was big in the 80s and that you make now, and we're going to talk about, I want to hear more about your buying or prowess for the Roxy.
Yes.
But the one thing that you built with Tina's Vodka is a brand and a business. And so I'd like to pause now for a quick word from our proud title sponsor, Cisco.
That's so funny that you were mentioning that, Matt. We were talking about that earlier. And while we can talk all day about cooking up the most delicious barbecue or artisanal pizzas, craft cocktails, it's the business and the branding side of things that often determines the success of the industry.
That's why Cisco, the global leader in food service, is the best resource to keep your brand strong. Cisco knows that great ingredients like non-GMO corn are only one part of your recipe for success. By understanding your unique needs, they can offer you powerful solutions to run every aspect of your business.
And how? Well, Cisco has a team of experts that do in-depth consultations covering everything from profit and loss statements to keeping your menu on trend. Whether you're looking for training materials, food cost advantages, or service ideas, Cisco has the expertise to fit your needs.
Visit Sysco.com, that's SYSCO.com, to learn more about all the great ways Cisco can boost your restaurant or liquor business.
Cisco, at the heart of food and service.
And speaking of brand, I have been watching, I told Max offline, a little mindless show called Reacher, and in one of the episodes, it takes place in Georgia, they were had some great product placement of Duke's Mayo. And Max, while you are doing some product placement for us today as well. Speaking of a great branded thing, they're
ankles were cold, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So Duke's Mayo up on the socks, some cool socks, a great brand as well, and we love their mayonnaise. I mean, it's the regular at the Weiss household.
By the way, Duke's really helps keep you balanced. Did you see that? I stood on a chair, 1 foot, one leg up. This old man over here, I still got it.
Yeah.
But
Max, and being that we're about 11 days away from the Super Bowl now, Duke's is the official condiment of the tailgate and was the title sponsor of the Duke's Mayo Classic and the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
yeah, no doubt. Hey, get yourself some Duke's. They're local to the South. They're growing every single day. They're fantastic. Follow them on Instagram at Dukes_mayonnaise or go to dukesmayonnaise.com to reach and find out more about it.
One last thing to keep us caffeinated with our beverage choices.
Oh, yeah. Grab some coffee if you like there, Tina. And if you want, we might even have to throw some vodka into it because what we're talking and what we're drinking about is Carborough Coffee Roasters. We love these guys. Carborough Coffee Roasters offers over 30 delicious and distinct coffees from the world's premier growing regions in South and Central America, also Africa and the Pacific Rim. From a bright and sweet, full-bodied to balanced, light roasts, their selections offer expertly roasted and highlight natural characteristics of each particular coffee. They deliver coffees all around the local area in the Triangle, around the state. So to learn more about it, go to carboroughcoffee.com.
Let's get back to it, Tina. Okay, so buying at the Roxy, that gives you a pretty good idea about what liquor brands are making it, what's good along the rock and roll set. Talk to us a little bit about that and then how that transitioned into your own brand here.
Yeah, so the Roxy's been in my life since 1998. Actually, I was performing, doing my, open mic nights.
Yeah.
And doing, my first open mic night was at the Blue Dog Cafe, which doesn't even exist anymore. There used to be tons of open mics around LA, way back.
Yeah.
Actually, before I left, I was looking for some, and they just don't really exist the way they used to.
Isn't that crazy? You just can't do an open mic. But I guess you don't need to because you have an open mic right in your hand, in your pocket every day now that you could literally put out on your own channel. So
yeah, but it's something different when there's an audience.
Yeah.
Especially just walk up and, just have you can do 2 songs. It was I'm glad I had that experience.
Totally.
Because you really work on your nerves and, you're different when you're around people versus just, okay, here, let me hit pause and redo that. So the booker there actually booked a show at the Roxy, and so I got to perform there. A bunch of my friends came. It was great. And then I called them the next day to see about booking directly through them. And so they actually had a cancellation. So she's like, hey, come in and we'll talk, and we could probably play next week. I'm like, okay, cool. So go to the office. And this is back before we had any, nothing was online.
Yeah.
You had to literally call in and give your credit card over the phone to buy tickets. And
Right.
so I'm in the office waiting, which is tiny. The office, it's a small club. People don't realize it's only 500 capacity. It's a gorgeous, beautiful venue. The sound is amazing, but it's tiny. And so the offices are little. And so I was waiting there for the assistant talent buyer while the main talent buyer is by herself. For some reason, she was by herself. Usually there's other people in the office, and the phones were off the hook. There was a show that was about to sell out, and the tickets were crazy. So I'm sitting there waiting, and the woman walks in the room. She's like, would you want a part-time job, answering phones, taking ticket sales? Would you start right now?
Right now?
Yeah, and I was like, what? It's not what I expected at all. Because I was bartending. At this point, I was temping and doing different things in different offices, but it didn't have any time to write or to play music. And then I was making no money. I think it was like $10 an hour before taxes.
Yeah.
And even back then, that was still no money.
Right.
So,
Especially not to live in LA.
Exactly. I don't even know how I did that. Of course, I went into debt and, just, all for the dream. So then I started bartending because I was just making more money in less time. And
Of course.
I didn't need a job, but I was like, so I just started right there on the spot and just, and then the Roxy's been in my life ever since. So back and forth, I worked in the box office, ended up working for the owner for a little bit. He had bands that he was managing on record labels. So I got to do a lot of that. I got to see a lot of things just by really just being in the right place at the right time. I look at it now as almost like it was a paid internship.
Yeah.
Because it was,
Totally.
the Roxy is a place, because it's not corporate. It's still family owned. And it's not like in a regular, big venue with, big promoter, that would never happen. Like,
Can you remind me? Because when I think of the Roxy, I get because Whiskey A Go Go, that was the big one on Sunset, right? And
So
Roxy
it's
was
all
on
right
Melrose.
No.
No, it's all
Roxy was right there too.
I was actually
Okay.
just going to say
It's
to
a block
paint the
away. Yeah.
paint the picture for everyone. Everyone knows they've heard of the Whiskey A Go Go and they've heard of the Viper Room. That was
Viper Room, yeah, that was even
Johnny
smaller.
Depp added something.
Yeah.
That's where sadly River Phoenix passed.
Yeah.
But they were all kind of like right in the same spot.
Oh, yeah,
They were
all on
kind of
Sunset.
like it's Whiskey's on the corner. You just go down on the same block, just probably 200 feet, and you're down at the Roxy. What was the one right next door to the Roxy? It was
It's changed names several times.
Yeah.
There's a Rainbow
The
restaurant
Rainbow
right
Room.
next to it, and then on the other side of that was Billboard Live. It was Gazzari's originally, then Billboard Live, then it was a Key Club, and I think now it's One Oak. Now I'm not even sure what
Yeah.
it is.
yeah. Across the street was the Viper Room, and that was like, for a time, Adam Duritz, the lead singer of Counting Crows, was bartending there right after their first album. So he was there like in 96, 97. And I would go to LA all the time before I ultimately moved there. And we went in there and he was behind the bar and we were just like,
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That,
That's
that album,
before my time.
that album came out in
It was
93
earlier.
or 94 because I
I was still in high school
and
when we went.
August
yeah.
and everything else, and it was a huge. I mean, Mr.
huge.
Jones was a huge hit.
Well, because for young artists, don't put the street names of the street of where your house
Yeah.
is in your song.
Yeah.
Because those that know the song "Down on Virginia and La Loma, where I got friends who care for me," that's the corner he lived in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And all of his fans knew that. So then when he got back off tour, there were just a ton of hippies sitting out there on the
Hanging
corner of his
out.
house.
Like, hey, dude.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shit, I can't live here anymore." And he's like, "Where can a celebrity live where they're not going to get hassled?" "Oh, I'll go to LA." And then where can I have a normal job when like in between recording with the band, he just wanted time off. He became a bartender. He was a bartender by trade prior to that, so he just got back into it. So that whole area, like Los
Half
Angeles,
Jewish guy, by the way, Adam
yeah.
Duritz.
There you go.
He's half black, half Jewish. We used to call him a Hebrew.
Bluish, like Slash and Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, look at that.
Ooh, what if they did a power trio? Like that would be good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them at least has talent. No, I'm kidding. Slash, baby. I'm just kidding. No, actually,
Anyway,
Adam
so
Duritz amazing.
paint the and I said Sunset Lake to show how 'cause I live off Sunset Lake.
Yeah.
Now I won't tell anybody where, but Sunset, and then you also had Spago just up the block, right? You
Yeah.
made it on whatever
Coconut
street.
Teaser down the way. That was
Yes.
one of
Oh
my
my
first shows
God.
ever down around the corner.
Yes, I did have an open mic at Coconut Teaser.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
There you
I
go.
forgot about that.
My silly claim to fame just because of my boldness. The boldness of youth is some of the best stuff, and use it to your advantage,
Yeah.
kids. If you're listening, don't be afraid to do things that older people would completely not allow their conscience to do. Like I went to the Mint LA, which
remember
is
the
on the aforementioned Melrose. I think it's on Melrose.
Or was it Pico?
No, it's on Pico. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Troubadour is on Melrose.
Correct. But I went to the
No,
Mint.
Troubadour is on Santa Monica.
Yes, Santa Monica and Doheny.
Huh? Fair.
But
I haven't
Melrose-
been there in
Everyone's
a
like
while.
this.
No,
Sucks.
it starts right there, so you're not
Yeah.
completely
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it is Santa Monica.
Anyhow, I went into the Mint because while I was at music school, I was told by the engineers there that the Mint had the best sound stage and recording for like live music. Well, they had upgraded it a lot.
Okay.
This is like in 03, whatever. So they boasted about it. So I was like, man, I want to get a good recording of my band that I was in at the time live because we sounded good live. So I just walked into the booking agent on like a Monday in the afternoon, and I was like, hey man, I want to play here and I want to record. I heard you had a good board. If I can just like connect my computer and set it up and blah blah blah, that'd be great. I don't care. Like maybe just do an early set when it's not busy. I just want to whatever. And the guy looked at me and he was just like, you don't just walk in here and say you want to play at the Mint. Like you have to be asked to play with the Mint. And I was like, okay, can I play at the Mint? And the guy it's such a cliche Hollywood thing, but he was kind of like, I like your moxie, kid. Like, I like your style type of thing. That he ended up giving me not just that Monday night, but he gave me every Monday night for months, like for 6 months.
Nice.
And my band and I got to play there all the time, to work on our songs and do whatever. it was a Monday night, so it's not like, oh yeah, the guy's like really gave me a lot, but he gave me session time, and we could have our fans or our support system come and check us out. And it was cool because we could market it that way. We're like, hey, every Monday at the Mint, I think we were 8:00. It was a decent set or a decent time. And we played a lot. Like we got to know that area. That's Jada Pinkett's band, Wicked Wisdom, performed with us.
Okay.
She was horrible. The music was fine. It was my joke of that was Britney Spears meets Erykah Badu was what her music sounded like.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it was like trying to be like neo soul, but with just the cheesiest of pop lyrics. So like her musicians were awesome and they could like throw down because they're all studio guys.
Yeah.
The lyrics are just weird.
But it was just poppy crap. But when she played, she brought the people. So like they would stick around a little bit and then
Nice.
more people could see us. So like in a way, she kind of helped out.
Thanks, Jada.
That's why I'm super famous as a musician now.
exactly.
All to her.
Making all that money.
No, but to that, I think there is something that spirit of just, hey, I'm just going to, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
The worst they could do is say no. And I think that, that I got used to doing that as well. Just why not? Why can't we do this? Why does it have to be a no? Why were you making that assumption? And I think that's what helped me create the vodka and keep moving forward and just trying it. There's nothing wrong. Even now.
So tell us that jump because that's, you don't just go from working at the Roxy or being a beverage manager or doing all these things to then instantly distilling your own vodka.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some steps in between
Oh,
there.
yeah. I mean, it's like 20 years in the making. So that's it. I moved there doing open mics, doing everything. And that was another thing with technology. It really changed everything. Like you're saying with Napster, suddenly there was, everybody's freaking out because there's not as much money as there used to be with the physical CDs. And when I helped manage the bands, we would be in the studios with the 2-inch tape. The tape itself was $30,000 back then. I mean, just for inflation.
Yeah.
So it's like someone like me who's just bootstrapping everything. I couldn't afford that.
Right.
There's no way I could get even a demo done. But then with technology advancing. Through the years, I just kept playing, kept writing, and then worked with a few different producers. It took me 3 different producers to get to the right one. So I've spent 2.5 years working on my album in between my day job, and then we were going to release my album and the vodka at the same time, and then the world shuts down. Literally, I just paid for the mastering, and then next thing we know, the pandemic's here, and don't leave your house. So it was a weird time, but in between that, so during writing music, says you're creative, you're always writing, always. Even if you don't actually finish something, bring it all the way home to a song or a TV show or whatever it is, there's always ideas. I'm always writing stuff down and always been playing. And so the whole thing with the liquor just kind of came as a natural evolution. I was at the Roxy just doing different jobs and became the special events person. And I just started buying the alcohol just because I was working with that so much. And so once you're there, everybody's pitching everything to you. Because everybody wants to be at the Roxy. It's a legendary venue. Which is great. And so they came to me and I was literally tasted on every tequila, vodka, whiskey you could think of. And one thing I noticed right off the bat was that almost all the domestic vodkas, were made with GMO crops. Or, there was some type of additive, a hidden additive that you can do here that you can't do in other countries. Or the European brands were pretty good about that. I know they've changed a little bit. They have an American version for us.
Yeah, what they're allowed to do.
Yeah. So then the brands that were domestic and were non-GMO and organic, I didn't really like very much. They didn't taste very good. So I'm like, can somebody come up with a vodka that's organic, non-GMO, and tastes good, and is domestic? And so it all just kind of came together with that. It was a very inspired idea. And by the time the vodka came around, I was still working at the Roxy, but I started working with a concessionaire. So I was connected to many more people. I helped run the state of California at music venues. So I was still buying on even larger scale. And so one of my colleagues at this job connected me with his friend who's a distiller. So we came up with a formula together. I specifically wanted corn. I wanted to be organic corn because corn is delicious. It shouldn't be full of pesticides and GMOs like it is. And
right.
They just came out with a study that the GMO crop does not yield more. It actually yields less. So this whole, we have to do GMOs because we're going to run out of food. We're going to run out of food, so we have to do this.
Right.
No, it's all lies. It is not necessary. And the thing with GMOs is that pesticides come hand in hand with them. So it's like, it's not, you think, oh, it's not that big a deal. No, it is a big deal because you're literally eating poison at that point. When they're spraying out there with hazmat suits on, you're going to eat that? What do you think it's going to do to your body? And yes, it's alcohol, so it is distilled, but the base of it is still from that poisonous root. And like I have a lot of symbolism on my bottle. I have the alpha and the mega and the grass. And it's like the seed you start with is the product you end up with. So start with something from the earth and something delicious, and you will end up with a good product. And keep it that way. You know, keep the additives, the hidden sugars out. The only thing in that bottle is water and spirit from organic corn. That's it. And that's why it's so clean. You can smell it. You can taste it. The next day you feel it. So
where's the corn farmed? Is it specific place or?
Right now we're getting the corn from Missouri.
Okay.
So we were getting it from Wisconsin before the pandemic, but the pandemic really, it's still like, I feel like I still have a little bit of PTSD. I blocked a lot of it out of my memory because now it's almost 4 years, literally to the day that all this was going down.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy to think about, but I know I was thinking about the same thing the other day, 4 years ago.
4 years, yeah. And so it delayed my vodka about 1.5 years because we came up with the concept, I came up with the idea, the logo. Like I have Athena's owl on the logo. It's like my story. It's female ownership. Also, it's Greek goddess Athena's owl, Bubo.
Yeah.
So it shows
goddess of wisdom
and war.
And war, yeah.
And the owl is wearing armor. So, and then it's on top of a tree that is an olive tree. No, I'm sorry. Yes, it's an olive tree, like a sign of peace, and it's shaped like the continents. So it's like world peace.
Oh yeah.
But we'll go to battle if we have to.
It also looks. That is cool. I didn't realize that it
thank
also.
You.
The tree itself looks like all the continents.
Yes. So it is. It's like the wisdom of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, because the humans are never going to be as smart as nature. Period. Like we have. I feel like it's a time to.
We just let our egos get in the way of all that natural occurrence.
Yes, cooperate with the planet. Like especially speaking of the pandemic, when we were locked down for especially the first 3 weeks, look how clean the water was, the air, everything.
The animals
got better.
came back.
Yes,
Yeah,
because what was the one difference was we weren't out there messing it all up.
Yeah, honking our horns,
Yes.
polluting the air.
Yes, and it gives me hope that that's how quickly the planet knows what to do. The planet's smarter than us. We just have to get out of the way and work with it. And that's why more symbolism. The grass was inspired by the film Kiss the Ground because it's all about the soil health. What comes out of the ground it's so intelligent. Have you seen that film yet?
I haven't.
Oh, you have
but
to watch it.
I'm in the wine business and a sommelier by trade. So all of this, you're speaking my language about grape growing and all this stuff and regenerative farming. We've been huge proponents of that as well. So
Yeah,
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Totally. And that's that when you watch the visuals in this movie, that's what's so great. It shows the earth. No, here's where it knows where to send the oxygen, the nitrogen. It knows it's smarter than we are. The carbon is not our enemy. We're mostly made of carbon. All the elements are included, but when you spray them all with pesticides, it can't do that job. And so that's the biggest thing: getting that out of our food supply. And I want to use my vodka as a vehicle to tell that story. There is a better way to do it. Just do what nature is intended. Like before the Industrial Revolution, before you separated livestock from agriculture, the cows are supposed to be walking around pooping on everything.
Yeah.
Goes into the ground. It's natural fertilizer.
Give them a little vodka too while they're doing it, right? It's like full circle. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I just read a quote that he put out there. He's like, if we have the capabilities of making human life exist on another planet, then we also have the capabilities of making our planet, making our planet habitable. Like just if we thought we could do it over there, then we could just do it here. Just do it here.
Yes, exactly. We're not as good as nature. We can try to figure it out. Like the story in China many years ago. So there was the sparrows were eating like 10% of the crop. And so somebody in the government was like, we got to get rid of the sparrows. I want all the crop. So they managed to do that, killed off all the sparrows, not knowing that they were the natural predator of the locusts.
Right. Yeah.
So when the sparrows were gone, the locusts came and ate all the crops. And it was a huge famine for decades because of that. And it's like, sparrows are every single, even a mosquito, when I have mosquito bites right now, somehow, some way they have a job. Maybe we don't know what it is, even though we want to kill them all because mosquito bites are terrible.
They're really annoying.
There is a
Can't
method
sit outside
to
in the
it.
summer.
But there's there's worms, there's bugs, there's bacteria. If you think about our bodies, our intestines, everything is mostly bacteria. We're
Right.
eating our bacteria
Good
here
bacteria
is eating
versus
the
bad
bacteria.
bacteria,
Yes.
yeah.
Like, so there's
Reminds
nothing
me
to
of
be
my
afraid
colonoscopy
of.
that's happening in about 2 weeks. Keep you up to date, everybody.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks
Great
for that
news.
visual, yeah. But yeah,
So-
so the vodka came out of all of those things because I want to contribute back to the planet in a positive way. And, they talk about alcohol. It was originally created for medicinal purposes. It's been around for thousands of years.
or at least that's what the Christians told us.
Every motivation for everything we've ever done
Yes.
serves really like two purposes. It's either can you get fucked up or can you fuck it? It's pretty much the two things that we've ever done.
Yeah. Sorry, Tina. You were saying
But like, hey, to
alcohol
that-
is created for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like Jesus made wine. He's
Yeah.
the OG winemaker, So I think, of course, everything in moderation. You shouldn't go crazy with anything. Too much water is bad for you. Too much of
It's true.
anything.
You
but-
can drown yourself.
Yeah, Lord
but
knows the hospitals are filled with all of those drowning cases of people drinking too much water.
Oh, Max, you contrarian, gregarian contrarian. But no. So, but why vodka? I mean, you could, just because of its purity, I mean, you could have made.
Is that like your drink of choice?
Yeah. I
You
do like
could have done
vodka.
anything, so
Yes.
why vodka?
Well, I do like vodka. I love
Also,
a good
though,
Bloody
like,
Mary.
it's a very crowded category, I mean, and you've had your battle with the big powerhouses, Sazerac. So
Oh, yeah.
like, you got some cease and desist. That was a bold, I guess.
Is it
that was a
because
bold
there's
choice.
a 4-letter name that begins with a T that also is a vodka? Is that have something to do with it?
No. Well,
No.
sort of. But to your point, yes. That's why, because I would actually even say this as a buyer, because literally, I would come into work and there'd be like 6 bottles. Oh, they dropped these off for you. They want you to taste this and this, and it got to be overwhelming. And I'm like, God, the last thing the world needs is another vodka. I would literally say that.
Yeah.
But I saw that there was a niche. There was a void for what my product is, and we've taken the vodka to a different level.
Okay.
It's not just your typical vodkas. You can taste it.
It's really
feel
good,
it.
by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah,
you
like-
shouldn't bury the lead there. It's
Yeah.
really clean, like you said, just feels totally natural, crisp. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I
I
need
don't
to do
typically
something
like
different.
sip on vodka. You can sip on this vodka.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I knew with my experience that if I'm going to do a vodka, I can't just be just another vodka. So like with the way we source the corn, organic, non-GMO, made sure to keep it clean, and our filtration, our proprietary filtration system, that's what sets us apart. And that's why people tell me literally. Like one guy who's like, I drank half a bottle of your vodka last night. I woke up, I thought I was going to be destroyed, and I felt fine because a lot of
That's
brands,
the kind of
I
testimony
know, I
we
was
want.
like-
I
was
drank
like-
half a bottle of vodka last night
I know.
by myself.
I was like,
That's
first
a
of all, don't drink that
Tuesday.
much. Don't drink that much. But thank you, because it's because there's hidden additives, or it's just not filtered right, or it's just the base wasn't good. It shouldn't knock you out like that.
Yeah.
If you drink high end alcohol, you should wake up and feel fine the next day. I mean, of course, what you mix it with makes a difference, but that's why I knew I can elevate it to a craft vodka. And, it's like my whole life has prepared me for this with everything I've done. I grew up in a restaurant. My parents owned a restaurant in Charlotte. I'm Greek immigrants. So it's like being in the business is just something that was just literally just part of my DNA. My grandfather came from Patmos, and he owned a restaurant in Wilmington. He actually used to own a Crystal Pier at Riceville Peach.
Okay.
Yeah, many years ago. I mean, back
wow.
when I was a kid. I remember going out there all the time, and it was like, sand everywhere and Thousand Island dressing. I loved it. Dipping hush puppies in it by the ocean. This is back when life was simpler. There's no cell phones, no internet.
You didn't have to lock your doors.
Yeah.
So being in a restaurant, working food, all of that, became a foodie just because we, Greeks, we celebrate everything. Okay, got straight A's. Where do you want to eat? Oh, you made the cheering squad. Where do you want to eat? Everything was about celebrating. It brings people together. And I think that's another thing the pandemic taught us all, that restaurants are really part of our life, because you come together and you celebrate and you bond over food in a way that you don't over other things. Like they even say that like teams, like sporting teams and everything. And even when, being in the business with Southern, when you have those lunches and those dinners, you're getting to know people in a different way. And food and drink really it's part of the community. And I think bringing that something full circle to that experience is what I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun bringing people together, trading ideas, talking about the craft, like, with wine. This grape is from this region and we did this and this. There's a lot of craftsmanship and pride and art. It's very artistic, kind of like crafting a song.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with spirits. So the vodka was I'm a big vodka drinker. I love a martini.
Okay.
And I love Bloody Marys and I love ginger mules. Like, that's my go-to. So the vodka, I don't think, honestly, doing a tequila, you want to talk about a crowded market.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with international. So that's one good thing about vodka. You can make it anywhere. It's not got the rules that so many other spirits have, like scotches or bourbons or tequilas. I can literally, we started making it in San Diego. Then during the pandemic, they moved to Wyoming. And I want to talk to you about that, about finding a distillery here to partner with to make it all in North Carolina.
We had talked how you were looking to source not only to craft it here, but even
the corn.
Your corn, you could do
Yes.
that here in North Carolina.
Yes.
There's a lot of great ones, and there are a lot of great distilleries that can help with that process. So to anybody listening too, reach out because we've had previous people on that do distill for other people, kind of white label and help out and get it from there. So by all means, let's get that up and going. It's funny. Give a shout out to like some local talent out here. Matt, you and I, we just had dinner together.
We did.
With a Greek family.
I think they're technically from Cyprus.
Cyprian? What are you?
Cypriot.
Cypriot. We're talking about Andia
Yeah.
from Andia's Ice Cream. She's become a friend of ours, and she's great. A Cyprian, not a Greek, but close enough.
I mean, it was all the same at one point, right?
Yeah.
Well,
but,
although, no, actually, I shouldn't say that because the Greek identity is only somewhat of a modern thing. Like, they were very regionally
right,
different.
you were like Spartan, or you
Yeah.
were But we were looking for a place to eat and looking for a place that would like accommodate our group at a certain time and yada yada yada. We ended up going to Oro, and that's here in downtown Raleigh. And Chef Kevin Ruiz, who's been on the show before, is the chef there. He's sous chef. He's the chef.
He's the chef.
Yeah. Just because I'm the original chef, I think is still.
I think he's an emeritus at this point. I'm not exactly sure of the exact, but
the menu
Kevin
is
is
Kevin's.
yes.
Yeah, and what a menu! What a menu! Like he crushed
it's
us.
kind of like a Caribbean influence fusion, but it was fantastic. That pork chop was.
Oh man, I am always suspect of like ordering pork chops in restaurants because they usually destroy it and it's like
Overcook
overcooked.
it.
Yeah, and then I even said I was like, I bet he sous vide this because like this is locked and loaded with precision. Like it was just a perfect pink in the middle,
unbelievable.
but crispy
Crisp
on the outside. All that. I'm like, I bet that's what he did. And I asked him, like, because the kitchen's open too, so you can just talk to the chef and he likes us, So, but I'm like. Chef.
And he tolerates us.
Yeah.
We don't know if he likes us.
Yeah. I'm like, chef, sous vide this? He's like, no, man, I sear it and then I throw it in the oven and then I take it out. I'm like, wow, okay,
Yeah,
well
don't
done.
shortcut me.
Yeah. So, everything. And I had a nice
Martini to start.
007 martini, which was a nice, I think it was a gin martini, but it was a good way to start, which I rarely ever do. But I'm kind of like, I've been drinking those dark liquors, the rums and the whiskeys for so much that now I'm like, let's try something else. Let's get into some gin. Let's get into some vodka.
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
yeah.
but isn't a 007 half vodka, half gin with a little Lillet? Like a Vesper?
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, there's a perfect martini, which is
That's equal
Half-
parts dry and sweet vermouth, no?
yes,
But I think a Vesper is half gin, half vodka, 2 drops of
a
Lillet.
Vesper, but a 007 was just what they called their drink on their menu then.
Oh, okay.
Like it was just the proprietary.
But the Vesper was the drink of 007. He would order a Vesper martini, I thought.
he would say a vodka martini, shaken not stirred. That's all he would say. So
We're gonna have to fact check this.
Tina's vodka.
It
yeah,
would be.
that'd be next.
Are you in North Carolina?
I am. The ABC has approved me here. So I'm on the special items list, but
Okay.
I have to. So then I have to reach out to each ABC board, which there's 170 of them.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Oh, is it 170?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
thought it was just 100, but that's
There's
fun.
100 counties and
100
170
counties.
boards.
So
Yes.
that's real
So,
fun.
Yeah, and they're all different. They all have their own rules and different ways of doing it. So I'm focusing on, I can't get to all of them. It's just me by myself, and I am still bootstrapping it. And so working with each board and doing well in Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
Is this the only state you're in, or are you in another state?
I'm in California too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I launched in California. So so we came up with everything. We came up with the formula, everything, and we were actually trying to make festival season of 2020. And I'm laughing because it's like we had no idea what was upon us.
That was not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So, yes, I finally finished my record. I'm like, okay, the vodka and, because it's like my whole life is intertwined like this with the musician and the restaurants and the liquor. And it's like, and I was never a big drinker myself. I have 1 or 2 cocktails. If I have 3, I'm done. Like, I can't.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. But I appreciate.
Please.
But I think that helps me appreciate it in a way because it's like I don't. And that's another thing. That's the type of drinker, and I think that's what is trending now. People don't want just they want quality over quantity.
Yeah,
and
to my chagrin, and maybe your chagrin at some point, but there is a serious decline in consumption these days for purchase. So it's a rough time to be in the vodka business, also.
Yeah, but that's what I do. I've done quite a few tastings in ABC stores here, or even in places in California. And once people taste it, they're like, "Oh, wow! I didn't know vodka could taste like this."
Yeah,
because it's like I've been in the business for a long time. It's like this was not just just do a vodka. No, it was very well thought out, and we knew what we were doing, and we came up with something unique and special. And to your point with the Sazerac thing, so yeah. Did you read about that? Did you see that?
Yeah, you had a little battle with you were the David versus Goliath in this scenario.
Yes. It was scary there.
And by the way, I have never heard, tasted, been in all my buying years or experience in this business, been approached with Tina's tequila. Have you?
Thank you.
Oh, is that?
Me either.
Yeah.
So
there's a Tina's tequila?
Well,
apparently they had, you tell the story.
Maybe. I think in 1968, they trademarked Tina in the tequila category.
Oh, this is like
liquor.
a patent troll type of bullshit. Like, I own all the websites. I bought all the names and all that stuff, and so that no one can do business going forward.
Well, that's the thing.
Without
I don't
paying.
know.
Without paying the VIG.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's the trademark law is because websites is still kind of the Wild West.
Right.
Trademark law is 3 years, use it or lose it. Like you have to be able to prove that you're using it.
Makes sense.
Yes, so they've been squatting on it as far as I know. Because if my name is Tina, and the amount of bottles I get, I'm like, I would have a Tina tequila just to have it.
Exactly.
Just 'cause that's my name on it. So they had this trademark, and I never knew it existed. I've never seen it. Maybe it did at some point. It was older than I am. So my first attorneys were like, you have to change the name. I'm like, why? They're not even using it. And they're like, nope, they're going to come after you. You need to change the name. Work with me the next 6 to 8 months, and we'll come up with a name together.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and pay me my hourly $600 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like,
to come up with, let's call it Karras vodka.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. And this is the height of
And
lockdown.
then like the Chicago Bears come calling. They're like, actually, our offensive lineman Alex Karras was. We own his name. You can't.
Detroit Lions.
By
But,
the way, it's
That's
not,
right. Yeah.
he's not my father, by the way. But there's a lot
different
of Karrases.
spelling, no?
Webster's
Same
dad,
spelling.
everybody.
Yeah.
Webster's father.
Webster's dad,
Stepfather,
yes,
of course.
And I think his grandson plays for the Bears. There is a Karras in the
Something
league
like
in
that.
offensive line.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like, you have to change his name. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. And because we were going to trademark Tina's vodka, the 2 words together, which was not taken.
Yeah.
Because it's a vodka. It's not a tequila. It's just Tina by itself. There's no apostrophe S. So I'm like, I don't think I should have to change my name. I have a legal right to use my name as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I got a new lawyer. So I'm like, no. And they were just, one thing, I've gone through 7 different attorneys at this point. Because it is like, and this is one thing I've learned, just being an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you all have experienced that. You really, every day you have a new challenge, and you have to just listen to your instincts. Even if you have the experts telling you something, if I had listened to these guys, none of this would be happening. It would be a completely different name. It'd be
No one really
different.
knows anything.
I agree. Yes. Thank you. Everybody's kind of guessing.
So
Based on
eerily true.
Based
I
on
mean,
my
that's-
experience, but that has nothing to do with the moment now.
I listen to Adam Carolla all the time, and one of his like recurring themes is he says, as a child, I used to always see adults and I'd think, wow, when I become an adult, I'm going to know everything. These adults know everything. And now as an adult, I realize these adults know nothing.
Yeah.
Like no one really knows what's happening, and we're making it up every day.
But that's like the comforting thing, right? As a
Sure.
kid growing up, it's like, oh, they have the answers. I just need to go find them. And now it's like, yeah.
No, that's the comforting thing
like
today for me is that I realize that because no one really knows what they're doing, you can do what
Yes.
makes sense for you
Yes.
and blaze your own trail. And if you're confident enough about it, people are like, that guy knows what's going on. Yeah, that's it.
I guess that's a
Totally.
good way to look at it.
That's true. That's true. If you just like spearhead and say, "Hey, stop me," then
Yeah.
let me go forward and let's see if I can at least try it, do it. I
Yeah.
agree because there is like, if everybody's worried about what you can't do, let me focus on what I can do.
Yeah, but
And-
why would you do that? Like, just from sitting back here, you'd be like, all right, well, it's my name, it's vodka, but like, it must have cost thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to go up against a giant like Sazerac who has these resources. They send you the cease and desist letter. Like, in my mind, it would just be like, fuck it, I'll change the name,
Yeah, a lot of people did do that because if you look on the, everything is public information on the trademark site. You can look at everything. Everything lives on there forever.
Okay.
And so they do fight a lot of people, and a lot of people do give up immediately. And so actually with my new lawyer, we came up with Tina's Planet Vodka.
Okay.
Because I talk about planet Earth. My brand is from the earth, and I give back to the earth. And, that is my big thing. Because when you look at nature, it's just fantastic. Especially one thing, I know people say this happens when you get older, you look at birds a lot. Have you really looked at how gorgeous and incredible these birds are?
Yeah, I think this is like when you get older, this happens because
thing.
I'm doing this now all the time.
I've always had appreciation for birds. Like, I used to have a bird watching class when I was in fifth
They're
grade.
just
But I was just an
feathered
old
lizards.
soul.
That's all they are.
But they're fascinating, and why do they exist? They have these crazy colors and just fantastical. It's like nature is incredible. So I've always been fascinated with just the nature. This planet is amazing. You look at Hawaii, you look at the waterfalls, the flowers. It's like it's awesome, and I want to be in sync with that. So I'm like, planet,
Yeah.
And I love the planets. I also read birth charts and do astrology, and
You
I'm
can have a
very
whole
good
other
at that.
podcast with Max about
Yes.
that. But
Okay.
but hold on.
Let's do it.
But I'm the more
The
practical
Capricorn
here.
speaking over
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
And
never
like
mind.
you don't want to
Oh,
sit and
you
you don't want to sit and talk with these lawyers. You want to be out in nature, drinking your vodka,
Yes.
or like so. Yeah. So what?
So then-
why do you say okay? Let me go up against the Goliath.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't go up against them.
Okay.
We did Tina's Planet Vodka, and it
So
was
that was the-
approved. It was
and that was
approved
it.
by the USPTO, approved my trademark. I'm celebrating. I'm like, this is awesome. And then they send me cease and desist letters, which I was shocked about. I'm like, it's approved. What do you? How can you? You
Yeah.
should have fought me while it was still pending. The trademark office approved me. That was my ignorance to trademark law and what I was, what the first lawyers were saying. But to that effect, I'm like, I'm still in this. This is my name. You're not using it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this for the long haul. If I have to raise $100,000 to do it, all right, I'm all in. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I'll put on. I started the company with my credit cards, my no interest credit cards. So if I have to do that to get my name, let's go. And it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. It was actually, they sent me the letters December 22nd. This is another thing where I feel like my life has prepared me for this moment, and that's why I feel like my story can be inspirational to other people. It's like you're building something. 5 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be doing this.
Yeah.
But my whole life kind of prepared me for this moment. It's like, what is going on in your life, in your day job, or other things? You're picking up skills along the way that you're going to need for something down the road that you don't even know what it's going to be yet. So it's like the vodka really brought my whole life together. So I actually, a few months before, had lunch with a water supplier, Generosity Water. Micah, he's awesome. Hey, Micah. He's out in California. So he was telling me a story of how he had to fight a huge company that was trying to, because he has an alkaline water. And so one company was suing all the alkaline startups. And he was telling me this whole story about how he fought it and he won, and he's one of the few that came through because they have a different technology. So when this happened, I called Micah just to be like, hey, how did you deal with this? And he's like, on the phone, he's like, you're going to hire my lawyer, Doug. I'm connecting you right now. And once you have him on your side, he's going to take care of this for you. And I was like, okay. So I didn't even have to go looking. It was a referral.
So
Doug.
Micah had the answer.
Yes.
So wait, okay. So let's cut to the end.
Okay.
Where are we at with all of this stuff?
I've got my trademark. I went through to registration, and so with Doug, because like you're saying, it could have gone on forever. But
Yeah.
thank God he was such a great litigator, Doug Hahn, that he got it done within a few months.
And so
they dropped it. They know I
just dropped
exist.
it?
Yeah, they know I exist, and they let me go on to registration. And then a year later, their Tina mark was due for renewal, and they didn't even renew it.
Yeah.
So now they've just let it completely.
Nice.
So they put me through like months and months of. I didn't know
How does it even get on their radar?
They have trackers. They do. If there's like
it's the IRI,
the Trademark Gazette, and like so there you do. Every trademark that gets approved has to go through a 30-day publication window. Within that 30 days, anyone can
see what's being.
Say, yeah, they can also say, hey, wait a minute. That's my trademark. I oppose this trademark. And you can ask for extension or full opposition.
But like, can you imagine being that guy sitting in there and be like, wait, Tina's vodka. Yeah. Wait, back in 1968, we trademarked Tina's tequila. Like, who cares to bring that up? I mean, you'd have to be, I don't know.
It's such an asshole way of doing business. And you can just say like, well, that's the way it is. It's like, but what is the society that we want to craft? Like, why would that ever be a situation? I would love to know the other side of it, where they'd say,
too, yes.
no, this really protected Grandma Tina, who wanted to do this. Or like, tell me a success story where that actually worked out, that a defunct name that laid dormant for 20, 30, 40, 50 years then came back and it like improved society. Like let's figure that out. Or is this just litigation bullshit?
So anybody that's in the administrative departments of Sazerac, we invite you to come on and explain your side of the story.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that podcast.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear their side of it. But I will tell you this one thing that they did do, because they were, that trademark that they had was the reason why other people who tried to get Tina under the vodka category were denied because of that mark. So if they hadn't had it this whole time, someone else would already have Tina's vodka already. So in a way, they did me a favor because they saved it for me to use now. I guess no one thought to add to the name or
call Doug Hahn and have Micah connect you.
Yeah, or just didn't, or just got scared and just dropped it. Because I'm like, I'm in this. This is my name.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me I can't use my name.
Cool.
It's Tina, and that's one thing I had a conversation with Doug about, because I'm like, they were like, you can't use the website, you can't do this. I'm like, but my name's Tina. How do I refer to it in public? He's like, that's not how it works, because you legally have a right to use your name. So I learned a lot. Now I'm at like, you have a trademark question, ask me. I've combed through that website. I learned every combination.
Well, hey, before we get out of here, I know music's a big deal to your life, and it runs and it intertwines with your vodka. For those that want to listen, I'll put a link on our show notes and all. But you can find your music on Spotify. I've seen Tina Karras, sorry. And talk to us a little bit about the music. Like, what would somebody? What does it sound like? What's your vibe?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I've really crafted songs as classical guitar in most of my music.
Is there any Billy Joel in there?
There's a few piano songs. I have a few piano, but I guess it's more like a folk, classical, singer-songwriter kind of thing. And I wrote the string quartet, and I hired real string players. I really want to be very real. Huge difference between MIDI and the real instruments. It was awesome. I was very happy I got to do that.
Yeah, and I imagine watching them perform your music must have felt really good.
Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, it was a good experience. It's funny. It's right before I did the vodka, and I remember, because it's 4 players, and it's like I had to pay a certain amount every hour because they're all union. They had their breaks and everything, and I was on such a tight budget. And now after paying lawyers, how much I pay them an hour, I'm like, I could have gone 2 or 3 more hours with those guys.
By the way, this is totally random, and if the universe comes together on this, I'm gonna just fucking flip this table. Your cellist on this, her name wasn't Hope Easton, was it?
No.
Okay.
No.
I used to play with Hope in Los Angeles, who's an amazing cellist and a singer-songwriter herself.
Nice.
And I would play some piano and guitar like live with her. So I would have been like, holy crap.
That would have been cool. Yeah. Isaiah was the cellist. That would have been awesome, though, if it was that.
All right,
but I'm glad we didn't have to flip the table, because that's a lot of equipment on here. A lot of coffee. And the vodka would have broke. By the way, if you want to watch this production, it is now exclusively on YouTube. We tried a little bit to put it on iTunes. It's not working.
Yeah, if someone in the podcast realm knows a better server to put video up on the same feed, let me know. But the ones that we're using are a little hacky.
Yeah.
But and for those that have watched, we've got a couple of some feedback from the iTunes videos where they don't stream all the way through, even though supposedly it goes through all the way on. But like it only like plays the first 10 minutes or so, and then it like has a hard time continuing on. Especially like if you're not on a Wi-Fi connection. But anyhow, check us out on YouTube if you want to watch us. And for those that love to continue to listen to us, get us wherever you get your podcasts. We're still there. So
I don't know. Do you want to play us out? There's a guitar right over there.
Oh my God, I'm still waking up this morning. I would.
Oh
but
no!
you
See,
hear my
we
voice.
cleverly laid 2 guitars right next to
These are
us.
steel string. You don't even have a classical.
What? Oh, you can't. Oh, come on. There's 6 strings. They're all tuned the same. Come on, Tina. Let's
Even-
play
I'll play
some
something.
guitar.
Well, we'll let Tina play us out,
Jesus.
and I'll just let you all know, for those of you out there, look for some Tina's vodka, and you will drink extremely merrily.
Let me see.
Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.